Right, what's good? It's your boy Gurns from Mango Masala, Pi Radio's South Asian show, and I'm joined here today with two of the freshest in the game. I've got Joash and Freezy in the chat. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. How about you?
I'm good, bro.
I'm all right. How are we feeling? Still a bit sleepy or
I don't know, man.
awake?
I've woken up now. I'm chilling now.
I was talking to Freezy a bit before about obviously he has like a job outside of music as well. Is that the same for you, Joash, or are you full-time music?
We're both at uni. I'm working the job as
Okay.
well. But that's been kind of cancelled because of lockdown. So I'm just chilling at home right now.
What unis that you guys go to?
Salford.
Oh, is that where you guys met?
Yeah.
Sorry, if you don't mind me asking, how old are both of you?
Yeah, I just turned 19.
I'm turning 19 next week.
You're making me feel really old. Like literally, like I don't know why I thought you guys were like at least like early 20s. Like, oh, I'm turning 25 this year. Like, it's
Mad.
mad. It is mad. Like, whole quarter of a century. But anyway, this interview is not about me. Moving on, obviously the main reason for this interview is your new track, Be Mine, which is out on the 22nd of Jan. When we're recording this, that's this forthcoming Friday. So I've listened to the track and I rate it. Like, I think it captures like both of your like essences quite well. And obviously, like, I think like your music, I think you'll agree, like your sound is relatively similar. So you make quite a good duo like on the track together, I think.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah, thanks so much, bro.
So for those that might not have heard the track, because obviously this is coming out probably like the day after it gets released, what's it about? Like, what is the actual purpose of the track, or what's the lyrics behind it, basically?
So the kind of point of the song is kind of like it's like talking to someone, like when you catch a glimpse of someone and you're like, oh yeah, you know what, you're kind of playing still, like, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you have that kind of, it's like basically like imagine if your thoughts were put into a song. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you're kind of sensing that kind of vibe, do you know what I'm saying? You're chilling, you spot someone, you're talking, things are all good, this, that, and the other. And yeah, it's basically just like a vibe. Do you know what I mean?
It is definitely a vibe. Like, I can guarantee you that after hearing it, definitely.
We made the whole thing in about 2 hours. Like the beat included everything. Like we literally just, I think me and Josh, like we work so well together because we got that kind of chemistry where we can just go into the booth, go into the studio with no plans, no written nothing, no beats prepared. And Josh is sloppy when it comes to preparing beats as well. I'll tell him the day before, yo, bro, make some beat. And he's like, yeah, bro, I got you. Then we'll get there. There's no beats, but we make one there. And you know what I'm saying? Like we work well in the sense that we can just get into the booth, play the whichever beat and just vibe off each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Help each other with bars, flows, melodies,
Sure.
everything. You know what I'm saying?
So this was all done in like one sitting then?
Yeah, all done. Well, it was mainly done in one sitting, yeah, but we re-recorded vocals and that's a whole different story in itself. That was mad.
No, like, because I did notice, like, hearing the track, like, I was thinking, oh, there's actually, like, backing vocals, like, in the back,
Yeah.
like, throughout it. So is that what you're referring to when you're talking about, oh, it's a whole different story sort of thing, or?
No, basically. So what happened was obviously we went to the studio and we made the beat. We wrote the song, we recorded it, but then we wanted to re-record vocals, you know what I'm saying, backing vocals, make sure everything was like tip top. And we was in uni and we weren't really trying to go to studio on that day just because it was long. So what Josh did was he brought his laptop, his mic, his interface, his mic stand, his pop filter, everything with him, XLR cables, the lot to uni. And we was trying to find a room. And they do have studios in uni, but they were all being used for obviously classes and stuff. And we're not allowed to use them outside of class time right now anyway, due to COVID. But we were just trying to find a room and we went to like 2 different buildings, 3 different buildings, went into so many different rooms that we couldn't get into. We finally found one which was an ICT room. So the version that you're hearing was recorded in the IT room.
Well, when it blows up, that'll be a claim to fame for Salford Uni then.
Yeah, go on.
We kind of covered this already because, like, you guys have said that you met at Salford Uni, but obviously you released Junna last year as well. So did you guys already know of each other before you met at uni, or did you literally, like, how did that come about basically? Because if you correct me if I'm wrong, that's your first release together, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I literally met him. This was on the like the first day that I met him at uni. Probably the second time I went into uni. But we stood outside of class, and I've seen this other brown guy, the only other brown guy in the class. So I was like, "Yo, what are you saying, bro?" And then we were kind of talking, and then after that lesson, we were like walking outside together, and I was like, "Oh, bro, what do you do? Do you rap or what?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm a rapper." And then he showed me his Insta, and I went home and I was thinking to myself, "Well, this guy is cold." So I texted him that same night. I was like, "Bro, I've got this track. It needs a verse in it," because I was sitting on Jannat for like literally a couple of months, and I was just waiting for someone to like find to get on the feature. And then it's like this guy just came into like my life basically. And then I was like, yeah, we gotta make this happen. So I literally sent him the beat that night. Then he recorded it in probably a week, and then just dropped it as soon as. And that's
Sure.
pretty much how it happened.
And then following like the success of that, was it then like, oh, we need to do it the other way around now? You need to come on my track as well, like sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just got into the studio a couple times, and we were just like vibing off each other like so well. Like we've made like a few tracks since then, and yeah, man,
What is the course that you guys are doing?
it's sound engineering and production.
Okay, fair. So I suppose that helps a bit with like what you guys are into, sort of thing.
Yeah, like we're learning kind of like the background behind like music production and the scientific kind of elements. So yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I could use some of that because like I have logic and everything, but I literally have no idea what I'm doing when I'm like doing it. You said like the beat basically came like to you in the moment, basically. But I was gonna ask like what is the with both of your tracks that you put out, like what is the production plan that goes into it? Like obviously you said like it came in the moment, but then afterwards, like is there a refining process, or is it just does most of it happen in that actual studio? Like what how do you guys go about it basically?
In the studio, um, obviously I'll let Joash elaborate on this because he made the beat. But like I said, we were flicking through like samples and stuff. We found one which was like a guitar loop, and Josh was kind of messing around with that in FL. And I said to him, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna go for a smoke, man. I'll be back in a couple minutes." I went out of the studio. I came back, and he made the beat. Like the beat was just it was ready. The only thing that I didn't have was a sample, which Josh added in later. But yeah, he also added in like a few other little like synths and keys and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we made the bulk of it, in that pretty much 10 minutes. And then, when I got home, that's when I started like, finishing everything off. And I think that like the source of the song is that Bollywood sample that you hear in kind of like the intro and the drop. So, you know, I was just going through Insta and I found this like really talented singer. So, I messaged her, I said, "Oh, is it okay if I use your vocal for something?" And then she was like, "Yeah, yeah, go ahead." So, I added that in. And I think that's what kind of gives it that flavor and like makes it sound like a Joash type song or a Freezy type
Yeah,
song.
like literally I was gonna say you like your samples, don't you? Because I think that's like
Yeah.
a classic like so do you just come across your samples by chance, or is it that you have is it like more often you have something in your mind, you're like, right, I want to make a track using this sample sort of thing?
I mean, it depends on what it is. So, for Jannat, definitely I was listening to the song and then I was like, you know what, I need to make this into like a hip hop song. And that's how I did that. But with this one, literally I was just flicking through like Instagram. I was trying to look for something and I just like came across it by chance. And yeah, that's how a lot of like most of the time that's how it works. I think, I just come across a song by chance and then decide to drop it in.
Sure, yeah. So I haven't seen this yet, but I'm presuming it's coming out soon. A music video for the track as well, because I saw like a bit like promos on your Insta and stuff, and it did look like it's going to be good. So you want to tell us a bit about what we can expect with that as well?
Yeah, man. So the music video is going to be dropping on the same day, um, and yeah, the music video is mad. It's set in a it's filmed in a media kind of building on just like an empty floor, and we put some like lighting in it, and like like we created like a bit of a set design and stuff, and yeah, man, it looks really good. Like you just have to wait and see it when it comes out. I don't really know like I love about it, but I can't stop watching it, to be honest. Like it's mad. But yeah, no, it's definitely like my favorite music video that I've ever done. And this track as well is like literally my favorite one that I've made so far. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see like what people think of it when it comes out, because it's had like quite a good bit of response already.
So do you guys edit your music videos yourself, or do you get someone else to do it?
Yeah, no, it's filmed and edited by my guy Benjamin, who works for Trunk Agency. It's like a media agency in Manchester.
Right.
And yeah, we again, me and him, we work quite well together in terms of, you know, like the relationship between like music and videos. Um, so he did like my last music video as well, which was Fake Love, which dropped in July. And yeah, no, like he's really good. Like he'll shoot, he'll edit, he'll get like locations, lighting, anything we need, models, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really good. But with this video, we didn't go too crazy on the effects and the transitions and that. Just kept it nice and clean, but it definitely looks really good. Like looks really, really, really high end.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your ethnic background, and has this inspired Be Mine or any other tracks of yours in any way?
Yeah, so I'm Pakistani, Punjabi to be specific, and yeah, that definitely has like had a big impact on, my own music and Be Mine as well. It's a Bollywood sample that I've used. That song that I chose. That's from a film that I just like that I love. Growing up, and in general, having just growing up, that's the first kind of music I was exposed to. So, and then as I got older, I only started listening to hip hop and R&B. So I've kind of carried that, like, the Desi music that I grew up with, into my like teenage years. And now I'm at the point where I've like allowed the two to kind of mix together. And, it doesn't sound forced or anything. Those are genuinely like my two inspirations. And yeah, I just love mixing the two together. And then for Be Mine, whether it's using a Bollywood sample or, using some Punjabi percussion in, different songs, whatever kind of goes well.
Yeah, man, I'm Pakistani as well. I'm Punjabi as well. And yeah, similar to what Josh said, like my first experience with music as a kid, like the first song I actually ever remember listening to, and all my family, they always go on about this as well, is do you remember Jay Sean Eyes on You?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2004, 2003, something like that. But yeah, no, like Bollywood music, Punjabi music, that was like my first kind of introduction to music. And obviously, like as you grow older, you listen to, you know, like Graham, whatever people around you are listening to. Um, but yeah, I started making like, you know, like trap and grime and all that kind of stuff. And it's always been something that I wanted to do, kind of like blend the two together. But I didn't really know how to go about it because there was so much going on in terms of Punjabi music. Do you know what I mean? You got so many different feels. Like you got Bhangra, you got the kind of like the dancey kind of tracks. You know, you got like traditional Bollywood tracks. I didn't really know which one I wanted to go down, but yeah, no, Jonathan was the first thing that I did, which was kind of like a fusion. So it's kind of thanks to Joash because now I kind of know how to go about it. Do you know what I mean? Blending the two together. You don't necessarily have to do a whole track in Punjabi. Do you know what I'm saying? You can dash it. The whole point of it being a fusion is that you mix both things in it anyway. So yeah, man, you can expect a lot more coming of that kind of vibe now, man.
So you've mentioned like Jay Sean there. I was gonna ask, who do you guys like take your inspiration from? Is it mainly Asian artists? Is it other like hip hop artists, or is it a bit of both? Like,
I feel like generally I'm inspired more by, a Western artist. I love rappers like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and, lyrical stuff, but then also, the new wavy stuff like, D Block, Young Gods, a lot of Manchester artists as well, there's Mastermind, there's so many people like, doing bits in the scene. But then, on the Asian side, I'm more inspired by, production and, how they blend like the sounds together. So, people like Bali Sagu, Dr. Zeus, and, a lot of like new R&B people as well. There's like Mickey Singh, Prophecy, Ezu, more of them kind of people.
what about you, Freezy?
Yeah, man, my influences are mainly Western as well. Like as of right now, like I mainly listen to like D Block, M Honcho, AM, Mastermind, all them kind of like wavy artists. But when I started making music, my main like inspiration was people like Youngen, people like Chip. which is ironic because they beefed, but they were both like really big like inspirations. But obviously, like I do obviously now listen to a lot more Asian artists, you know, like Zach Knight, Ezu, all them kind of people, man. Like they're good, they're hard, in it. So
Yeah, cool, right. So like, obviously, you've both already referred to like your sound as basically fusion, and I would agree with that. Like not only through the sort of instrumental production side of things, but also due to the fact that you both like sort of like go in and out of English throughout your tracks. So like, how important is maintaining that fusion sound to you? Like, would you say it's an indispensable part of your sound, or is there a more important factor to like what your sound actually is?
I mean, it's kind of, I found this kind of like path kind of tricky to go down. I mean, a lot of people do this, you know, Asian and UK fusion, but I'm not sure if, you know, people don't really pull it off a lot of the time. And I feel like having Punjabi language in there is kind of important.
Is that indispensable to you, or can you imagine in the future you maybe going more towards Punjabi or more towards English or Western type music?
I mean, definitely at the moment, I make kind of both. You know, I can have a track where it's completely English, where it's no Asian samples or like, you know, whatever. And I've had tracks I've worked with, you know, Pakistani like artists or Indian artists where the whole thing is going to be in Punjabi or whatever. So it's not like, you know, I'm nothing without this kind of sound. You know, I can go in between, but that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. You know, I'm liking both elements. I'm liking the hip hop drums and I'm liking the Bollywood samples. And you know, I just like I'm right now my sound is where I like fusing them together. But it's not like without, you know, Asian sounds that my UK tracks won't bang. Or do you know what I mean?
yeah, man, I feel like it's kind of important to keep that kind of fusion, you know, like inclusive of both kind of elements of English and Punjabi as well, because you know, as much as we live in England and we're Western as well, we also have roots. Do you know what I'm saying, that you can't forget? So it's important to kind of put them through. And obviously, I didn't do that before we released Jonah, like I said, because I just wasn't sure of how to go about it. But now that I do, I feel like I'm making great music, man. And you know, me and Josh together, we work well with that kind of fusion sound. And you know, it's that kind of thing. But I feel like right now I'm at a good place with my sound because even though I can do the fusion stuff, I can also just do like the normal trap stuff that I was doing before this. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can kind of keep both people, both kind of sets of supporters who like different kind of music happy. And plus another good thing is as well is like by introducing people that were only listening to me for what I was doing before into this new kind of sound, they kind of discover a completely different type of music, which leads them to discover more artists. And you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of cycle. Because I've had so many like messages since Janet, which I don't know if Joash has, because that's Joash came with that kind of fusion music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With company, but yeah, like so many people are liking it. They're liking the kind of the fusion because you know what I mean. Like a certain demographic of people haven't seen that before, so it's kind of interesting for them. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place right now with the music that we're making.
Like sort of like leading on from that, when you put out tracks like both of you individually, what's the aim? Like, is there a sort of target audience, or is there a sort of like target number of views? How much does that matter to you? Like when you put out a track, like what's the main thing that you're thinking about basically?
Honestly, you know, I'm not bothered about views myself, but I just want to make music that people are going to feel. And I feel like going down this lane, you know, with the UK and Asian mix, that's something that people feel. Because, you know, I feel like kids like me, you know, people who've grown up listening to Bollywood, but, you know, they're listening to mainly like hip hop and trap now. You know, people can feel that because they're hearing kind of you know, both of their worlds combined in one. So in a, you know, target audience sense, that's kind of what I'm going for. But, you know, I'm not aiming for a particular number of views or I want to get to this place. I mean, it's nice when all that happens, you know, when your chats get played on radio and, you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, I just made the music that I love, really.
Yeah, no, like similar to what Josh said, the target audience is kind of like whoever likes to vibe with the song. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like by doing fusion music, like Asians can relate to it more and they'll be more drawn in by it because they're hearing sounds that they're used to hearing. And you know what I mean? There's traditional as well. Like with using samples as well, you'd hear that sample in a Bollywood movie. So by hearing it on a trap beat with two brown guys rapping on it, do you know what I'm saying? It will draw them in a bit more. But then again, like with my other tracks, that doesn't really have like a certain demographic. However, I feel like the best way that you can kind of make music to engage all of your audience is by just making it real and relatable. Do you know what I mean? So, like, for example, with this track, obviously, Asians will identify the sample, they'll identify the language that we're using. However, the message anyone can identify too. Do you know what I mean? It's similar to other tracks that I've done in that sense where you can relate to the feeling of the song, the message of the song, the vibe of the song, all that kind of stuff.
Sure, definitely. So again, sort of like linking to that, do you feel like there is a space for you in mainstream British music? Do you want there to be?
Yeah, man. I feel like right now there's not a lot of Asians in mainstream music. You know, in terms of UK mainstream, you know, like the charts and all that kind of stuff. Like the only people that we probably have in there is like Coombs. Do you know what I mean? That's actually come out and has actually done numbers as an Asian. But I feel like
Like Steel Bangles as well, maybe.
Stuart Bangles as well. Yeah, I mean that track that he did with Sidhu Moosewala and Mist and Stefflon Don, that was a big track.
Yeah,
But
like it was interesting hearing that like on not just the car because I
yeah,
have like BBC Audio Network on like quite a lot in the car and stuff. It's interesting seeing that played like across like the different radio
literally.
stations.
And it's good as well because obviously that kind of showed people that there's a lot more to Asian music than just the traditional Bollywood stuff. Do you know what I mean? People that might not have heard it, but I feel like there's definitely a space for Asians in the market. Like there needs to be anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like we need to get more artists on that level because, like I said, the numbers they're quite shocking. Really, like we only have a very small minority of people that have come up, do you know what I mean, on mainstream music doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like with Fusion that'll probably take off because it can appeal to both kind of masses of people.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, Asians like struggle nowadays if they want to be, a mainstream artist. Like there isn't much of a lane. You know, we've kind of have to go down this kind of like Brit Asia kind of route, like our music is too desi for, English radios, but then it's kind of almost not English enough, some of the stuff I make, for kind of like BBC Asian Network and stuff. But I think we're going about it kind of the right way, having both of our influences in there, making kind of something, fresh, something new that people don't usually hear, and combining like both our cultures together. And yeah, hopefully we can kind of, pave a lane and, show that we can have both of our influences in there at the same time and, keep true to both sides while still, I'm being successful doing it.
I feel
Sure.
like having a platform like BBC Asia Network and Brit Asia as well is really, really good for us because it's I don't want to say it's our own platform, but it's a platform which plays the kind of music that we make. Do you know what I mean? Like by us, like Asians. And the mad thing as well is like I know so many people that aren't Asian that listen to those stations anyway. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of good that they're people who aren't Asian, because obviously having BBC Asian Network, Asian in the name, Asian people are your target audience. But obviously having people that aren't Asian listen to it is really good because obviously that introduced them to a new kind of music, and it's easy for us as artists to use platforms like Asian Network and Brit Asia to kind of step on and establish yourself on that platform and then lead on to other things from that.
No, it's definitely like good to have that sort of like lane open to you because I feel like a lot of new artists there are options there. Like it's weird how it's all like sort of like it's all linked to like BBC, but it's like sort of like BBC introducing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then obviously Asians have Asian network and they can basically like it's sort of like a bit of like a jump ahead of the queue in a way because it's sort of like you can't actually go down that route that it's exclusively for you rather than having to like merge in with the rest of like the BBC introducing people. I did actually speak on this on the radio like a few episodes ago because um, I attended a Zoom conference where it was a load of South Asians who were involved in the media, and Bobby Friction was on there. And one thing that he said really stuck with me, so I wanted to like hear like your thoughts on that, which was basically you can only really achieve stuff in mainstream media by being the token brown person. So he was basically saying, for example, how like he did this documentary or something and he went to this award show, and I can't remember what it was about, but it was like maybe like unrelated to his Asian background. And the only thing that people were talking to him about was, oh yeah, I love Sikh weddings, like blah blah blah, like sort of thing. So obviously it's good like having BBC Asian Network at your disposal, but how do you feel about like sort of like almost having to go through down that route? Do you know what I mean? To like actually get on the scene sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Obviously, like I said, like it's great having that platform there because it makes it easier for us Asian artists to obviously be heard. And for example, like with Janet, it got played on BBC Asian Network and then it got played on BBC Radio 1. And like with my track Fake Love that I dropped earlier on this year, that got played on BBC Asian Network and then One Extra. So it's good to kind of have that as a leap to obviously the bigger mainstream platforms. But obviously in an ideal world, we'd like the music to be that kind of lane which is accessible to most artists to, you know, kind of put themselves on. It's kind of like how drill is now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's easier for people to do drill music and for the majority of people to like it. Do you know what I mean?
It's actually mad because I know there are obviously still a lot of elements of drill that are involved, or that certainly the media portrayed drill as being associated with crime, and there's like this constant debate over, oh, does it promote violence, etc. But it's mad because I remember like 3 years ago like reading this article and they were actually talking about like banning drill music, like literally banning it, and now it's basically dominating the charts. And it's so weird to see how like that's changed and how it's become so accessible. And it is like history repeating itself because the exact same thing happened with grime, really, like
Yeah,
before that. And
literally.
yeah, it's interesting. Just to like sort of like bring us to the end of the interview, wanted to think a bit about the past and a bit about the future. So with regards to the past, how has 2020 been for you guys? I think you've both like managed to put out music relatively consistently considering the circumstances, but like how has COVID, etc., like affected you and your music like throughout the past year?
I mean, I'd say that, lockdown was kind of one of the biggest things that happened to my music. I mean, it was kind of the time period where I've, fully found my sound. That's when I put out my song Company. That was my first song to go on radio. And it's kind of allowed me just to be, literally in my bedroom working on my tunes all the time. Like, I record all my stuff here. So it's been a blessing in that sense. I've just managed to like just keep working on tracks and, just keep grinding really. So yeah, I kind of owe it to COVID in a sense,
Like a blessing in disguise sort of thing.
Yeah, therefore, blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like as mad as 2020 was with like COVID and lockdowns after lockdowns, like it's really has been the best year for my music that I've ever had. And I've been doing music for a long time. Like I started when I was like 12. And now like 2020 was mad. Like I did a show before lockdown. Um I've just been able to be more consistent with it. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been able to make more music and not have to worry about managing time with like 100 other things. And also like it's just been a really good time to network with people and connect because everyone's at home, stuck at home doing the same thing. No one's going out to shows, no one's playing at clubs, no one's doing this, that, and the other. And like coming from that, 2020, I'm sure Josh will agree as well because we both got played on radio. Like that was our first like leap onto radio. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, like it was just crazy, and like I definitely gained a lot more networking skills from just reaching out to people. Do you know what I mean? Reaching out to people with tracks, just being real with people and seeing what they think of your stuff. Do you know what I mean? It leads on to bigger and better things like radio. If I never took the chance and actually bothered sending it to people, it wouldn't have got played, and you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't have rotated like it has now. But yeah, no, 2020 was definitely the best year, and obviously now I know that I can be consistent. I'm definitely going to keep it up, even when we're out of this lockdown and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely the energy to take into it. Like, even though obviously the end isn't in sight, like we literally don't know what's going to happen, but it's definitely the energy to take forward. I was looking at some of your like discography from like the past year, and I saw Freezy, you actually did a track with Versailles. So like, how was it like seeing him obviously like
Yeah, no,
Like,
Versailles is my brother, man. He is my brother. Like we're really close. I reached out to him when I was like 15 years old, and
Mm.
obviously he's a considerable amount older than me. I think he's 25.
Yeah,
So obviously at that point he must have been like what 23, thinking why is a 16-year-old messaging me? But no, like I've known him for a very long time, and like we've got that kind of like that big bro kind of relationship. Like
yeah,
I send him all my new tracks, everything I work on. He gives me feedback and he gives me harsh feedback, like real constructive feedback that you need. You don't need just like yes men saying, "Oh, this is sick" every time. You know what I mean? And to be fair, Josh does that as well. Like if I send him something, he's like, "Bro, no, you need to change this, man. This is not it. Like you need to change it." But yeah, no, reverse say like obviously we made that track around this time last year and we dropped it in April. And that's when he was supposed to be on Little Mix, but the obviously Corona got in the way of it.
yeah.
Once he was on Little Mix, it was mad just like seeing him blow, like finally getting the recognition he deserves because he's a mad artist as well. And he's been doing this for just as long as I am, if not more. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, no, it's mad seeing him getting like retweeted like 3 years ago by like Lady Leisha for his freestyles to now like getting like Little Mix in his comments and all these rappers. Like it's mad. Like he really deserves it, man.
Yeah, no, I was definitely like, I was really happy when he got through to like the final group. And I was also really annoyed. Like, I did want Why Change to win, to be
Oh,
honest.
definitely.
But
They would. I know he can't say this because obviously he's a part of the show and good spirit. But in my opinion, man, they were the best on there, and it was good as well seeing an Asian on that level. Do you know what I mean? Seeing someone that we can all relate to. Do you know what I mean?
definitely.
Same background and as well, like I swear he was like the first person to do drill on BBC One, because he auditioned with like a drill song, didn't he? So
Uh,
that's like that's mad.
I honestly, all I can remember from his audition is him bringing these roses on and giving them
Yeah,
to each of them.
yeah, no, I remember you was telling me all about that, man. I was like, bro, I've got to watch this episode.
Yeah, but no, definitely, it's been nice to see him like get the recognition he deserves, like you said.
Definitely.
And thinking about Joash, like your discography, obviously
Yeah.
you produce tracks as well as your own. So do you think is that which is like more your vibe? Is your vibe more as a producer or as an artist or a bit of both? Like,
I started off by producing, so that's definitely like more what I'm comfortable with. Like I say, I'm a defo a better producer than a singer, and I kind of that was my main kind of thing going. Like I thought that if I was gonna make it in music, it's gonna be a producer, and I started singing later. But I think I'll always, no matter how much, no matter sorry, no matter how big I get as a singer, I think I'll always still be producing tracks. Whether it's for Freezy, for people like Hannah Malik. I'm working with other people in Manchester right now. I think I'll just keep producing. Yeah.
so that brings us sort of like onto like the future. So do we have, besides Be Mine, obviously, do we have anything to like look forward to? Because obviously like we need stuff to look forward to in the current environment. Like it's quite a bleak future out there. But yeah, what does 2021 have planned for you guys, if anything?
Yeah, no, you can just expect a lot more music, man. A lot more music. And me and Josh as well, we're planning something real big,
Mm.
which will definitely be for the culture. I know that saying gets chucked around a lot, but this is like you'll have to see when it comes that you understand that it is for the culture and exactly what we were highlighting in this interview. It will be kind of bringing that to life. But yeah, no, you can definitely just expect a lot more music from me, an EP as well. And yeah, man, just consistency. That's it.
I mean, just same thing really. I don't like dashing out, things. I'm gonna drop an album at this time, or whatever comes will come. But just a lot more of what people are liking at the moment. That's all I'll say.
On that note, obviously, ending on a positive, thank you both of you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you both grow as artists. And
Cheers, man.
yeah, keep in touch.
No, thanks, bro. Thanks for having us.
You wanna be mine? Oh yeah, I can tell by the look in your eye,